What if you could make a man disappear so completely that no one would ever find a single trace of him? Not in movies, not in fiction, but in a small Idaho town where everyone knows everyone, and where the only thing standing between a perfect crime and justice was a single data point on a cell tower. Today's case is not about a monster who was caught because he made an obvious mistake. It is about a man who came agonizingly close to getting away with it entirely. And the question it leaves behind should make every one of us uneasy. Challis, Idaho. Population, just over 1,000 people. Remote, quiet. The kind of place where a dispute between neighbors rarely makes national news. Alan Bruce was 70 years old, a handyman, a man who had lived in Custer County long enough to know its roads, its rivers, to know its silences. Patrick Shelton was 47. Once the two men had been friends. But somewhere along the way, that friendship collapsed. The cause? A boat trailer, a generator, an RV. Small objects, ordinary things. And yet, they became the reason one man is dead and another will spend the next 2 decades in a federal prison. Shelton allegedly stole from Bruce's property. Bruce responded in kind. He drove a bulldozer into Shelton's RV, damaging the structure beyond reasonable repair. The message was clear: this is not over. Escalation after escalation, accusation after accusation, until Patrick Shelton sent Alan Bruce one final text message. 3 words: make peace with God. Those 3 words are the last documented communication between 2 men who had once called each other friends. And what followed them was anything but silence. On the night Patrick Shelton came to Bruce's property one final time, he arrived in his vehicle, and he sideswiped Bruce's truck. What happened next reveals something about Alan Bruce that no court document can fully explain. He did not call the police. He did not file a report. He drove to a friend's house, retrieved an AR-style rifle, and returned. Patrick Shelton was shot dead. And then Alan Bruce did something that has since haunted investigators and the Shelton family alike. He took out his phone and he photographed the body. Patrick Shelton, slumped over the console of his vehicle. A gun was placed nearby, a staged scene captured in silence for reasons that remain deeply troubling. Some details of a case stay with you long after the verdict is read. This is one of them. What followed the murder was not the act of a panicked man. It was the act of someone who had made a decision and was fully prepared to see it through. Alan Bruce dismembered Patrick Shelton's body. He used a chainsaw. He burned the remains in a barrel on his own property, along with the chainsaw itself, ensuring the primary instrument of dismemberment could never be forensically examined. Whatever ash and fragments could not be accounted for were driven to the Salmon River near Deer Gulch in Lemhi County and disposed of in the water. Shelton's vehicle was towed and abandoned. The crime scene was scrubbed with bleach. A shop vac was used to eliminate any residual evidence. Nobody, no weapon, no witness, no evidence. By every measurable standard, this should have been an unsolvable case. When investigators later asked Bruce why he did not contact law enforcement after the shooting, he answered with a phrase that has since become the defining statement of this entire case. You shoot, shovel, and shut up. He believed he had done exactly that. He was wrong. Patrick Shelton had a phone, and that phone, before it went permanently silent, sent one final signal to a cell tower. That signal placed Shelton's last known location directly on Bruce's property. When law enforcement began asking questions, cadaver dogs were brought in. They were alerted at the site. When Deputy Ethan Kelly of the Custer County Sheriff's Office sat across from Alan Bruce and presented what had been found, Bruce did not retain legal counsel. He did not deny the evidence. He did not ask for time. He confessed. And then, in a moment that investigators have described as almost incomprehensible, he retrieved his phone and he showed Deputy Kelly the photograph, the one he had taken himself, of Patrick Shelton's body. In one voluntary act, Alan Bruce handed law enforcement the evidence that would seal his fate. No warnings, no explanations, just silence, and then a photograph that made silence impossible. In November 2025, Alan Bruce entered an offered plea to second-degree murder, an arrangement under which he did not formally admit guilt, but acknowledged that a jury, presented with the available evidence, would almost certainly convict him. He was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. 20 years for the taking of a man's life, for the methodical destruction of his body, for denying his family the one thing that no sentence, no ruling can ever restore. Patrick Shelton's remains have never been recovered, only fragments of bone. His daughters cannot lay him to rest. There is no grave. There is no marker. There is no place to go and grieve. At sentencing, one of them stood before the court.
He is a coward
and said
and
what
a liar.
no legal language could express.
I want him to drown in his guilt as I drown in my grief.
He is a coward and a liar. I want him to drown in his guilt as I drown in my grief. The Challis case is closed in the legal sense. A man is behind bars. A sentence has been handed down. But the question that haunts every story is always the same. Was justice truly served? When a family has no grave to visit, no body to bury, and no answers that time can repair? If this video made you think, hit like. If you believe these stories deserve to be remembered, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, which case do you think hides the darkest truth? Because sometimes the most dangerous thing in the world is knowing too much. Because some stories don't just disappear. But even the most careful plans leave something behind. A signal, a mistake, a truth that refuses to stay buried. And in the end, no matter how deep the river runs, some stories always rise back to the surface. Every case leaves a shadow. Every mystery deserves a voice. This is Shadow Case Files,